riveting Marauders gameplay right here, dude.
Pretty much.
He's literally... Oh, we hit that mine! You're gonna like some of these excellent Marauders Science questions. You're gonna love them.
I got my herbal tea ready to roll.
You're gonna want to take that gear off. What are you doing?
Oh,
this is Marauders Science, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we gonna do this? Oh, right. I'll go ahead and say this just to let you know. So welcome back to Marauders Science. This is episode 3, I believe. We got a lot of questions me and Zach are gonna go through. Nobody else is joining us tonight because they're all a bunch of wimps. But anyway, the first question we've got is, can you headshot yourself? We're going to load into a raid and dock somewhere and then proceed to shoot walls, stairs, anything that we possibly can to figure this first one out, and we will report back. Some people have just said that when they hop on their ship before, after going into a raid, they've hopped in their ship and just been around and shooting, and they've headshot themselves, and it'll even pop up that they were their own killer. Though, however, it does kind of make us look more manly if we do it out in space.
It does, because then we're just true space boys.
Maybe we just lie? Just kidding, I wouldn't do that. I'll leave this part in so people know. Yes, we'll park in the raid because we're a bunch of bitches. However, the first 2 episodes were done entirely in space. Here's your gun. And, here's some extra rounds of ammo. I'll just leave it laying on the floor here.
So, Luke, come over here really quick. I need you.
Sure.
Where is my gun pointing right now?
At your head.
Where's the bullets going?
I can't tell. Shoot it again. I don't...
I feel like they're hitting at my feet, but I can't tell.
Oh. Yeah, your gun is like... You're like shooting off to the side. Which that's another fun little fact. Crouch down and point your gun at that wall again. Your gun is pointed... Look to your left a little bit. Shoot your gun. Yup!
Why did you die in 2 bullets? Like, I only shot 2 bullets. How did you die?
You headshot me.
Why? How did I headshot you?
Dude, that was so funny. Dude, so what I did there was I had you angle your gun up. And it's like jammed up against the wall. The bullet does come out where the gun is. You know when like enemies run too close to you and you put your gun close to your body? Mm-hmm. That's what you were doing there, obviously. But when you pulled, the barrel was aimed at my head. And when you pulled the trigger, you shot me in the face twice. Killed me immediately.
I was like, I only shot 2 bullets. How did you die? It's like double headshot.
Yeah, you double headshotted me. So yeah, you fucking annihilated me.
We're absolutely leaving that in. That is hilarious.
No, there's your quick little science tip that, yeah, that does still, I mean, I figured it would go somewhere, but I didn't really know, I guess, where it would go.
Putting their face against the pillar, I had no idea where it was.
No.
Because if the gun's pointed up a little bit, I'm not sure I can get my head down there or if I can push my gun far enough up. But if it's already angled up, if there is any kind of flasheing or, ricochet to it, then it will kill you.
Technically called spalling. If you want the official gun nerd term, it's called spalling. Yeah. Look down a little bit. How are they doing it? Okay, what if it's stairs, maybe? Stairs maybe have some weird... Oh! Oh!
Did you hit yourself?
Oh, yeah! I shot myself.
Ow.
I just shot... Yeah, I'm hurting myself. Shoot right that, like, aim up a little bit more, I feel like.
Oh!
Yeah! Yeah, you'll...
hang on. I'm curious.
Trying to headshot yourself?
Yeah, so if you're too close, you'll get spalling back at you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you're running scope, like if you're running and you... I'm sure you could probably find that sweet spot where you kill yourself.
Dude,
but...
aim up at your own head. See if you can get it to do your head. I want to get it on recording. Walk up to that wall and aim up a little high. I think we know which angle it is.
Alright. So I can try to kill myself here?
Yeah.
If I go too high, it stops.
Right. Do you think you could just shoot yourself once in the head? Do you think
Probably.
you could try that?
I might have found it. It says body, but
Well,
I think that's probably how you can hit yourself in the head. If you have a downward elevation change while firing, you're gonna spall right into your noggin. I'm gonna report myself.
can you report yourself?
You can.
If you could shoot yourself, there is obviously the capability. I would say that we can't, I mean, unless we did rigorous amounts of testing to find a spot where you could do it. I'm going to say you can do it. However, it's not easily, you know, I'm not saying the guy who shot himself, killed himself in the head is lying. I think he's serious. I think he was.
Well, and also too, if you had something that was head height.
Yes.
Like if you were, like, if you had something that was head height.
If you were standing below it and you, yeah. I get what you're saying.
So I think if you found like something that had like an elevation change where, once again, it puts something at about head height, and when you shoot, you go down and you meet the spalling angle, it's gonna headshot you. Now I don't know how the spalling damage is calculated. I don't know if it's like a full bullet force. Right. I don't think so, but
yeah. Well, that kind of goes hand in hand with our next question, which we'll go over once we're back in there. No, and not to call that. I saw the dude's screenshot, and he killed himself in the head. So, but I don't think it's doctored, is what I'm getting at either. I don't think it was some sort of meme image. I really do think he shot himself in the head, which is great.
It's possible. There's probably some specific part that makes it really easy. We're not going to spend hours figuring out where exactly you can kill yourself by shooting yourself in the head.
Right.
Because I have herbal tea to drink. So
I had sleep to make. Herbal tea to drink, Z's to catch, baby. Though now that answers some questions to me of where in raids before I have been shooting at somebody and I've shot a wall, and I swear, I would almost swear up and down to you that they never hit me. I never heard them fire, but I took damage. I'm wondering if that was me.
What's our next question?
So, if I'm not mistaken, you should be able to, here, take this Uzi so we're working off the same damage. You should be able to shoot me through this box. This is a wall bangable box. Just try to shoot me once in the chest. Okay, I'm down to 82% health. Now
that's pretty much the full damage of the Uzi.
That's my next question. So this question that we're trying to answer now, if you would drop your Uzi in flak jacket or rig, I'm going to shoot you in the chest. So I was down to 82% with no ammo. I'm going to test and see.
82%.
Okay, so wall banging does not negate any damage, it doesn't seem like, anyway. Okay, this is a perfect one. So this one is, do guns block damage? So if I shoot you, what happens if I shoot your gun? So
first just trying to shoot it.
Yep. Okay, that shot your hand. I'm going to try to shoot more at your barrel. Okay, I didn't hit your barrel, I don't think. Is that hand again?
Yeah.
Okay. I hit you, didn't I?
I'm going to shoot right down the barrel of your gun.
Sure. Nope. I took damage. Wait.
It went straight through the gun.
Yeah, no. So, it's straight through.
I see it hitting the other side there.
Weird.
Yep. So yeah, guns are just invisible, have no hitbox.
Perfect. All right, so here's our next questions. We've got to test the new, the VOIP distance. We've got to, you remember when you were at 1% health and you breached the ship and you survived?
Yes.
Can you survive a fall at 1% health?
Ooh.
Because it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. So my idea is the way you got down to 1% health is breaching, right? You breached in and out and got down to 1% health and you didn't die. We'll wait around a little bit, then we'll have you breach in and out, I guess, a few times till you're 1%, and we'll find some place for you to jump off. You should just, like, breach out, breach in as we're flying into the raid.
I mean, that's kind of the game plan.
I mean, I can shoot you a few times before you go do it, at least.
Yeah, do that, please.
Yeah, I'm just gonna spawn in and start shooting your legs.
I don't.
Oh yeah, you don't need me. You don't need me to shoot you.
I'm a strong, independent, suicidal person. I will shoot myself.
I'm a strong, independent, suicidal marauder who don't need no. This is the funniest I've ever witnessed in my life.
2%. All right. That should be low enough.
He asked for 1%, not 2%.
All right.
Let's be real chads about this. I'm gonna pop off Discord so I'm not hearing you talking regularly, okay?
I will sing you the song of my people as I walk away.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yeah, sorry, I forget that we're VoIPing and I just kept saying yeah. I was getting pissed that you weren't listening. I was like, go, mother, go!
Alright. I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers cannot deny. There's something big fat thing in your face, you get sprung. How was that? Can you hear me?
I can still hear you.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Quite well.
This is embarrassing because I don't actually know the rest of the words.
We'll just keep talking then.
Well, I'm kind of at the back of the ship. I'm kind of going in the rear end here. I'm going up the back entrance.
Yeah, I can hear you still all the way back there. You're at the back entrance?
I'm at the very back of the ship. I'll go down, I guess.
Yeah, go to the
Can you
engine.
hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
I'm by the engine, so like it's loud down here. But I mean, it doesn't seem that the
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, but I will say the VoIP, like where the audio sounds like it's coming from, sounds way closer because you're still at the front of the ship, right?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like you're near where you're at.
Yeah, I'm right by the engine.
Here, I'm gonna come back towards the engine. I'm coming. I'm walking. I should be on top.
Coming down the stairs?
Nope. I should be right above you.
Yeah, now you're much crisper above me, but it still sounds like you're above me, just quieter.
See, that sounds weird because on my side, like, keep talking to me. I'm gonna see if I can just like keep pinpointing your location because I can pinpoint basically right where you're at. Keep talking for a sec.
We've come so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter.
I mean, I don't know. That still sounds pretty okay. Here, you come up here and you do it.
Are you below me?
Yeah, I'm in the engine.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll just start. I'm gonna go walk towards the front of the ship.
I mean, I'm still having a perfect time, like, pinpointing where you're at. You were, like, directly above me and to the left a little bit. I'm not having too many issues.
Well, where do I sound like I'm at?
You sound like you're in front of the Luger table.
I'm at the helm.
Well, I mean, either way, I mean, that's close enough, right? Go to the...
It gives you the directionality. Where do I sound like I am now?
You sound like you're at the left-hand periscope.
A little further left than that, but pretty much, yeah. So the directionality is pretty good, but the volume is a little... but I mean, I get that. You don't want to make it hard to hear people who are trying to talk.
Right. Okay, so from what we can gather is it's quite a far ways away. All right, let's go in there and just continue doing Marauders Science on VoIP. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. You're just gonna start blabbering on as hard as you can and start running away from me as fast as you can. Go for it.
I don't know the words to bring me to life. God dang it. Oh no. Okay, this is also pretty heavy zone, so I might die. I'm not gonna... Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
So it is up there.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Now I can hear. I'm up by security room right now, actually.
Oh, that's quite a ways. I'm coming up to you.
Same here. So, wow, that is a long way away. So, correction, it's not just in everything in the rust bucket. It's like at least a couple 100 meters.
Let's go find you something to jump off of. Go for it.
Right here we go.
You lived!
I lived. So, just like breaching.
That still damaged me, though.
Yeah, it did damage me, and I'm at 2%. Ignore the unmanly scream.
No, that's fine. I think we... Oh,
Sorry.
right, yeah. What'll happen is you'll pick up this scrap, I'll drive into the mines, and then I'll get off the mines, and then you'll eject me out of the pot.
Sounds good.
Simple, really. Mine incoming.
Why is
Mine
salvage-
incoming!
Oh!
No, it doesn't. I bounced off of it really well, though. So, there we go. System's at 100.
All right. So if we 14% HP, that's gonna be the kicker.
14 HP.
Take a shot. Take a shot.
Okay, I'm like close as I can be, I think.
Flat damage, 14% again. Get
All
in
right.
there, you scum and villainy. Fuck you. Just for that.
Oh.
Sick as hell.
Yeah, it's got an animation and everything. You like pop out of the side of the ship and your character just like groans and moans and suffocates to death. It's awesome. It kind of goes hard. Our next question is they've redone the sound. So there's different levels of sound hearing. So do you remember?
We'd established 3 levels.
3 tiers originally. So we're going to try the test again. I guess you remember where you're going to go back there. Apparently there's more. I don't know if it's a new system entirely, but they said they changed around the settings.
Now I'm going in front of the outside scavenging bay. I'm running back and forth. Can you hear me?
Actually, I heard you for a split.
And how about now?
Oh, I definitely hear that now.
So sound now starts.
Stop talking for just. Sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. Walk in front of the doorway. Run back and forth in front of the doorways I can see you through. That's different. You can actually hear me run past the doorway now. But it disappeared.
Yeah, it's louder. I only hear you the second that you cross the doorway. There's 2 tiers to the sound. You have the sharp sound, and then you have the dull sound. So here, go stand right there. So, because you know when you're running on this, it's all metal grate, so you make a lot of grate noise. But whenever you run in front of it, you only hear the grate noise on your end when I go in front of the door, but on the rest of it, you hear the dull thunking.
So what I'm thinking, here's my next thought process that we can do to confirm this. I think occlusion is working on walls now. I don't think it's a tier. But I'm wondering, is it still a tier-based system? So whenever I can't see you and you're behind a wall, does that take it down to tier 3, the furthest distance? And then whenever I can see you through the door, is that bringing it up to 2? Or did they entirely get rid of that? So I want you to go to the back of the ship and sprint to me, and we'll both be really quiet, and I'll see if it sounds like it's a gradual noise or if it sounds like those tiers again. So whenever you're ready, just let me know and we'll go.
All right, here I go. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more tiers to it. The funny thing is the stop point is essentially the same. Like, until you cross like a certain barrier, there's no sound, and then it gradually gets there. I can definitely still tell there's tiers of it.
Right. Let's see.
But it's much like there's like 10 different tiers probably.
So obviously we know the tier here is where it start to get really loud. I'm wondering, can we tell, is this all going to be the same back here, or is it progressively louder from back to front? You ready?
Mm-hmm. So that's all the same tier.
Sounds all the same?
So it goes from sound to nothing, and nothing to sound.
But then this sounds like it's different.
So it's not just like 3 strict ones like there were before.
Right.
It seems to be like the outside ring still seems to be pretty big, and there's not a lot of sound change. But as you get closer here, stand back over there.
Yeah. Sorry.
So you'll notice that once you can hear me, it stays the same when I'm in the outer ring here. I'm going to go. Louder, louder, louder.
Oh, for sure.
So that's going to be the thing, is that sound is much more dynamic. It has a soft and a sharp portion. If you can visibly see them, you will get the sharp portion. If you can't, you'll only get the dull versions of the sound. And when they're on the outer ring of you, you can kind of hear it. You can hear it. and there's not a lot of change distance-wise until you start getting close, and then you start
Right,
getting
then
a
you
lot
really
more.
start hearing differences, which would definitely help with... Let me hear how good the left and right is. Start walking and then just go all the way over here, I guess. Oh yeah, that sounds really good. A lot more clear than I think it used to. Which we didn't run this test before, but here, go stand right there. I think it, for me, it just sounds like it's easier to pinpoint my location.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely tiers, but I know where you're coming from. There is now like very good stereo sound coming back, right? Are you going back?
Where am I jumping?
You're like straight behind me.
Yep. Yeah, that seems like it's a lot more easier to pinpoint than it used to be. Okay,
They
perfect.
did a pretty good.
Yeah, no, that
Pretty
sounds
good.
a lot better than the tiers. I still think you're right. I still think it's some sort of tier system, but I feel like it's either way more dynamic, and it might just be that all of this, you're right here, like this is all a tier level, and it's a shitload. But I also have another theory. I'm wondering if it's only tiered out to a certain distance. So like this isn't tiered at all. This is true dynamic. Past this, they render sound past walls now as a different entire sound. Yeah. And it's like play it louder if he's here, turn off dynamic player sound if they're back here, and just play a noise like it used to. I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of what it sounds like. So I've got my wife Sarah here with me now because me and Zach totally messed up the freaking sound. It was just really hard. It's not that we did bad work. It was just really hard to basically make it line up with the original recordings from the last time we did a Marauders Science. So I wanted them to be a little more consistent. So we're going to do this. Sarah, you stand right here at this line and look at me. So this, and then I'm going to stand on this line where my boot hits, and then I'm just going to walk left and right. So this is what walking around sounds like in Marauders on your side. And then this is what they hear. Scoped in, this is what it sounds like on your side. Again, like I said in the original video, scoping in and crouch walking always seemed like it was deadly quiet to me on your side. So this is what it sounds like for you. Now, the next thing we want to hear is when you can hear other people whenever they're on your ship. So you're going to start all the way back at the very back there. You're going to keep running towards me when I tell you, and I'll let you know when I hear you, okay? Hear you. Yeah, right there. Okay, try again. Okay, I heard you. So now we're going to do it another time, but you're going to go down to the engine room and do it, okay? Go for it. I heard you. Where did you make it to? Right about there again.
I was about here.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
I can hear you.
Now.
Heard you.
All right, so I am basically underneath you.
Give me another volley of shots. Weird. Yeah, the occlusion is working a hell of a lot better. There. So this is about as close as you can get to another player without them hearing you crouching. Why don't you stand there and just tell me when you start hearing me crouch?
Alright.
Here I come.
There.
Wow, you're deaf as hell.
Well, also, I heard you just like a second before, but I wasn't sure if I heard that or
So
something
either
else.
way,
I think I heard you right about here-ish.
that's, if you go stand there and eyeball this, like, that's f***ing close.
Yeah, so crouching actually makes a big difference.
It feels like it's a bigger difference than it used to be, because I feel like before, you could hear people crouching from the cockpit if they were, like, here.
Yeah,
it was bad.
And, I mean, before it was just, once again, a distance system, but they seem to have given crouching noises their own circle, and it is so much closer.
Correct.
Like, there's actually a reason to crouch, whereas before it was just
It was just kind of like, yeah. Okay, so let's try a couple more things that we usually do. I'll try it on my side, and then you can do it on your end so we get confirmation on the video. Does leaning make noise?
No.
Go for it. No, it does not. Sighting in does, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, does sighting it, ADSing, and leaning make noise?
No.
Okay. Okay. Does crouching make noise? Wait.
Here, quick question. Whenever I scope and I lean at the same time, does it make noise?
Yes. It's doing this.
Yep.
Okay. Crouching?
Yes.
Yes. Crouching makes noise. Does turning make noise?
No.
No? Go for it. Does crouching and turning make noise?
No.
Okay. I think that's all the movement related questions and sound we had. Unless you had anything you wanted to add here.
Nope.
No? I think does that answer all of them?
Excellent.
Excellent. If you want a quick route out of the raid, crouch, aim at the ground, and just shoot yourself. Yeah, kill shot to the legs with an Uzi by spaghetti and meatballs. So, let's quickly recap. Can you still kill someone when you're too close to a wall? Absolutely. Yeah, this was just a little bonus question that we had. I mean, it just worked out the way it worked out. That's the only reason it's in here, as you can see. But yeah, your bullets go up and to the left. So good luck doing that in any sort of actual circumstance in this game. But if you do it, I need a link immediately. Can you redact yourself with your own weapon? Yes. It doesn't really seem to work on everything that we saw. It was more dynamic, I guess. Some things would do it, some things wouldn't. Of course, you saw us shooting all the normal walls and they weren't doing anything. But then, however, near the stairs, they did. And then later on, we were able to just look at the ground and shoot ourselves. So, yeah, it's definitely possible. Again, we could never get the headshot that we were after, but it's obviously possible. We're just not quite sure how. We'll keep digging into that. Maybe we'll include that in a later video if we find it. Do wallbangs do less damage? No, they don't. Not at the current moment. The gun does the same amount of damage no matter what. So I don't know what to tell you. I guess the boxes are just little bitches. Do guns block damage? Absolutely not. As you can see several times throughout the video, we would shoot each other's weapons and we would either shoot each other or we would just shoot right through and it would hit the wall behind us. So no. How far away can you hear VOIP? I included the map here because I wanted you guys to truly envision how big the space actually was. Because in game, like, oh, well, that's really not that far from that airlock to the security room. But if you look at that compared to the rest of the map, I mean, that's almost a little over a quarter of the way, sometimes almost half, depending on which way you're looking at the map. So it's quite a long distance away. You could generally, hypothetically, depending on the map, this is Asteroid Mine, you could VoIP with a quarter of the lobby, depending on the map. Something like Terraformer obviously is going to be a little different, but you get my point. Can you survive a fall at 1% health? Yes, you can. I was kind of surprised by this. I knew it worked for breaching, that you could survive at 1%. I had no idea that you would be able to survive jumping off at 1% health, but he did. In the video, I took damage after the jump. He took 0 damage and was still alive at 1% health. So until SIG decides that's too fun and patches it out, get to jumping off anything. Do mines kill your ship in one hit? No. They do drop a rust bucket down to 14% health points, but they do not fully destroy them. They will, however, fully destroy your pod. Do not hit them in your escape pod. So let's go over the sounds. This part of the video is going to get a little confusing, and I do apologize. I also want to apologize for the fact that I'm not a graphic design artist. I just used Canva to make these slides and stuff, so it gets to be a little bit of a pain and kind of hard to articulate all my thoughts. But do bear with me. I'll try to explain it the best I possibly can. The easy thing to explain is that occlusion is working well with walls and other surfaces. Throughout all the testing, just listening to the new noises, listening to the distance settings, listening to all that stuff, it felt more whole, I guess, than it used to. It used to kind of feel dull, but now with the occlusion bouncing off the walls and stuff, it makes the game feel more alive and more depthy. We really enjoy it. So again, this next part is going to be very confusing, but this is how we used to think the sound worked in Marauders. Again, we're not devs or anything, so we don't have access to the files that show us this stuff. I don't know if data miners do, but this, from our best guess, was the system. It was almost like a circular system, possibly squares, we don't know, but we went with circles. That, you know, the yellow Marauder, you could hear 100% of his volume. Blue Marauder would be like 50% of his volume. Green Marauder would be like 25% of his volume. And then orange Marauder out there would be 0%. You wouldn't hear a thing from him. And this didn't matter if there's a wall in between you, whether they are above you or below you. It always worked in this spherical way that we kind of imagined. That's what it always sounded like to us, because no matter the distance, it always sounded like, well, it was just like, oh, I hear walking noises, but you could never really articulate where exactly. So here is what we think the new system looks more like. So again, you're the white Marauder in this scenario. The green Marauder you can hear at 100%. The red Marauder you can also hear incredibly loud, but it's a little more dynamic and slightly further away. The blue Marauder, however, is muffled, and that's because a wall separates him from you. Despite the fact that the blue Marauder and the red Marauder here are exactly the same length away from you as the player, the blue Marauder will sound muffled, the red Marauder will sound way more clear, and that's what the occlusion is doing. Once you can visibly see people, or I guess your ears can hear them with clear line of sight, I know that sounds really dumb to say it that way, but that's the only way I can think, you'll hear them more thoroughly. And it feels like that distance in between, since this red Marauder would be, you know, you could move towards him or he could move towards you, it sounds more dynamic. It doesn't sound like that 1, 2, 3 tier system. It sounds like there's actually distance. However, if this red Marauder moves up into this corner and is moving around, you as the player will go back to hearing muffled noises even though he's closer to you. That's just the way it's working right now. I don't know if this necessarily had to do with occlusion, but the sneaking seems to do a lot better. I was able to sneak up on Zach this close on the rust bucket multiple times, and it was always right about this area. Same way with him. He would be able to sneak up on me from about this distance and several times. Back to the other occlusion stuff. You used to only ever catch people if they ran from the back of your ship to the front of your ship. You could start hearing them right before the Luger table. However, that would happen several times again when we were testing this, but what happened when my wife ran through this doorway one time, I was able to hear her feet hit that metal grate, and that gave me an alert to her presence. So I think the occlusion is really helping with being able to pinpoint people and hear them at even further distances. Directionality sounds a lot better than it used to. We used to not suffer too bad from it, but now it seems really clear when you sit down. We've done that before where we sat and we've kind of tested it out, and it's been pretty reliable. But now we can pinpoint, like, okay, yeah, you're right behind me, you're right to my left, you're right to my right. Distance for the gunshots has finally been implemented, which is awesome. That will give you a lot of hints once you start figuring that out. It really didn't used to be different, it didn't sound like, because you could shoot guns from all different distances we tested, and it would always sound the same if they were like 2 or 3 doorways away from you. Because we stood by the Luger table and it sounded the same as it did in the cockpit. And we did that at several places, not on video, out in the world map, which we should have recorded for that video, but it was an afterthought. But it never changed. It's always just a certain distance away. Gunshots sound quieter. So I don't know if you can hear them across the whole map. We didn't ever test that. We need to test that the next time we do a sound run through. But at the moment, it does seem like it has more distance to it now, which is awesome. And finally, what sounds can you hear? Well, you cannot hear leaning and you cannot hear people turning. However, they can hear you scoping in or ADSing, and they can hear you crouching. And a final PSA that everybody needs to understand. Your movement sounds are always louder for other players than for yourself. They're always louder for them. So if you think you're being really quiet, chances are you're really not. When I went back and listened to the footage of the movement where we were going back and forth between me moving, Zach moving, me moving, my wife moving, and kind of getting those different angles on the sound, this time nothing really seemed to change too much. Not too much anyway. You can say the sound sounded a little better, but I don't think this volume changed except for ADSing and crouching. To me, it did sound a little quieter than it used to be and almost equal to what you hear, but still just not quite. So again, always remember your movement sounds are always louder for other players than for you. And that, my friends, is Marauders Science Episode 3. Appreciate you guys sticking around. Hope you guys learned a lot. We learned a lot. It was a heck of a lot of fun to do this. We always enjoy it. Any more questions, drop them down below. I'll make sure I'll post on Reddit again to let you guys know when I'm going to start doing another one. That'll give you another opportunity to ask questions, and we will get your answers. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please do like and subscribe. It really, really helps us out. We're a very small Marauders channel. It's basically all we play, and so, you know, appeal isn't always at the top of our list. So we would appreciate a like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want. Appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.